We are in the 29th day, almost about to finish the third quarter. So there are a few midot that are very important to focus on, that if we are able to apply at least the ones that we're going through in this 10 days, then hopefully that should serve to us as a platform to go to the next midot. So we went through a bunch of them in the last couple of days. But one of the midot that is most important, if not the most important, I mean, of course, many will say that being humble is the most important midah, the characteristic, the attribute. But I find that there's one that is not less important. And if a person knows how to apply it in his life, his or hers, then he already jumped a 1,000 levels up. Now, Kadosh Baruch Hu, of course, is the king. There's no question here. We only have one king. He's the king of all kings, Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the master of the universe. And a king always will have a stamp. So people should know who signed the document. Not a stamp that you put on a envelope. What we had, a prehistoric thing years ago when we used to actually lick a picture and put it on an envelope. My kids, you tell them a stamp, they're like, huh? What? So we know the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, had a certain stamp that they used to stamp the oil, and in many cultures. It says in the Talmud, in Tractate Shabbat, page 55, that the stamp of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, after all, he's the king. He also has a stamp. If I'm saying it the wrong way, then correct me, but I know that it's considered like a stamp, and again, I'm not talking about a stamp that you're putting on an envelope. I'm talking about like a seal, a press, a stamp. And in Hebrew, it's called chotam. Chotam is a stamp, but I think seal is a more accurate word. It says in the Talmud that the seal of the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the midah that is called emet, truth, honesty. Now, where does the Talmud derive that? It quotes a verse of Tehillim that can be found in chapter 81, Pei Aleph, 81, verse 12, and it says, Emet me'eretz titzmach. Truth will grow from the land. Saying, in other words, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu's seal is Emet, is all about truth. Now, of course, we know, we mentioned that many times, that this world is called the world of deception, Alma de Shikra, the world of lie, because everything here, maybe 1% not, 99% here is a lie. But the world above is called the world of truth, Olam HaEmet, because there's no concept of deception or lie or cheating in the world above. As I said many times, a person that lives a life of a lie or constantly lies is not going to be so welcomed in the world above. It's not going to work out for that person. So since the king of the universe stamps or seals with this midah of emet, and needless to say that we need to follow in that midah. Now, when the Talmud quotes the verse of Tehillim, it also explains what it's expected from us. And it says that the main thing that needs to be revealed in this world, the word that it's using, hachefetz, ikar hachefetz shetzarich litgalot, the main thing that needs to be revealed in this world, midat haemet, the attribute of truth. And it says a person cannot be 100% completed without it. En shum nivra nishlam zulata. Without having this midah, you will never be fulfilled or complete. Really, that's something that each and every one of us needs to pursue. We're going to talk about it in length in a different class, because I'm sure you're familiar with the verse, tzedek, tzedek tirdof, righteousness, righteousness you should pursue. And needless to say, there are dozens of quotes from Chazal, from our sages, about the truth and emet, how important it is. But when a person wants to be a true servant to the master of the universe, he cannot have even one speck of a lie. Can't live a life of a lie. The Kadosh Baruch Hu says himself, the master of the universe says himself, if you have the midah of sheker, of deception, of lie, we cannot coexist. You cannot coexist with Hashem if you're not 100% emet. Now, is it possible to be 100%? No, because we are always required to kind of bend corners. But the Torah also tells me when I'm allowed to lie. There are times that I'm allowed to lie. If it's, of course, to save a life. And in many other things, we're not going to touch that now. But the point, what we need to take, is we need to focus constantly, how am I following this path of emet, of truth? We also know that Torah is called emet. Moshe Rabbeinu, who was the Raya Mehemna, the trustworthy shepherd, the real leader that we had, that's why he's called Rabbeinu, he's called emet. What's interesting here is that, how does the Torah start? Bereshit bara Elokim. In the beginning, God has created. If you're looking at the last letter of each one of these words, Bereshit ends with a Taf, bara ends with an Aleph, Elokim ends with a Mem. Sofei otiyot emet. The truth. Just truth. And nothing but the truth. The world was created from the master of the universe based on emet. Now, if a person knows how to walk on the path of truth, he and she will be very successful. What brings most of our problems in our life is lying. Because once you get into a tangle of a lie, you can't get out of it, or you fail. And then when you get caught lying, then the result is devastating. Really what we need to focus on, that's what I don't want to go in length to that, is a person needs to internalize the importance and the severity at the same time of living a life of truth. Now, how is it explained in the easiest way to understand? It's explained in three paths. The first one is called Lo liot mut'e be'atzmo. Do not lie to yourself. If you lie to yourself, you're already down, you lost the battle. So just remember these three. Lo liot mut'e be'atzmo. Not to live a life that I'm lying to myself constantly. That's what most people do, by the way. They lie to themselves with all sorts of excuses. The second one, lo le'atot et hazulat. Not to lie to another person. So the first one is not to lie to yourself. The second one is not to lie to your fellow individual. Lo le'atot et hazulat. And of course, the last but not least is not to lie to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, because he's the last one you want to lie to. So it's three paths where you need to focus on. To yourself, if you're lying, then you're doing to yourself the biggest injustice you can do. If you lie to others, then you are a liar. And when you lie to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're basically telling to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I don't agree with what you have decided. If a person goes in the path of emet, he can be sure that he will end up very close to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Soon we're going to pray Mincha. What do we say in Mincha? Karov in Asher Shevetechas 3 times a day. We say Karov Hashem lechol korav lechol asher yikru ve'emet. Hashem is close to the ones who call him, but the ones who call him with truth. Which means not that I'm just calling Hashem, that my life is about truth. So when I call to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, then there's no deception on my tongue. There's no deception in my mouth. There's no lies and cheating. So when I call to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, then he can hear me. How can Hashem hear me if I lie? So since we're going very close to the quarter of how do I really gain ultimate closeness to Hashem, and you have to focus on at least these 10 days what we're going, which midot, because there are many more. And we're going to learn that in length another time. But for now, there's certain things, certain foundations that you need to follow. And the truth, nothing but the truth, is literally the basics of everything. If you lie to yourself, lie to others, and lie to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you'll never be successful in anything. It might sustain for a year or 2 or 10 years. Even people who lead their life of a lie with business, it doesn't sustain. So you'll make money for 10 years. You'll make money for 20 years, and then you're going to get caught. Either by the IRS, either by the government, either by the mafia, whatever it is. You're going to get caught at some point. And if you lie, some people, they lie to their wife. All their life they lie to their wife. And they have here a girlfriend and here a girlfriend and here another girlfriend. And eventually you get caught. It's not going to work. Nothing works. Lie will take you to a certain length, and that's it. In Hebrew we say la sheker en raglayim. The sheker, the lie, doesn't have legs. Why? Because if you write the word sheker, lie in Hebrew, it's shin kuf reish. So shin has a base, and reish also is standing on one leg, but the kuf in the middle has a long leg, but it only has one leg. So when you stand, how long can you stand on one leg? An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? At some point you fall. You can't stand on one leg. If you're very talented, you'll stand on one leg for half an hour. Same thing with the lie. It will sustain to a certain amount, and then you will fall. So when we want to achieve closeness to the master of the universe, needless to say, to be a normal human being, nobody wants to deal with liars. Not in business, not in relationships, not in anything. But I want to gain closeness to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. How? My life has to be straight as an arrow. Not easy to achieve, but this is what you need to focus on. If you're not going to reach to that place, you're never going to be able to rectify and refine yourself. Needless to say, you'll have a serious problem in the world above, because if a person knows only how to get out of situations with a lie, and that's most people, they somehow get themselves out of a situation with a lie, and lies can be exaggerations. To exaggerate is a lie, according to Halakha. Even all sorts of excuses are lies. Just say the truth. Just say. Hand it out. That's it. And as they say I think they say it in America, maybe in other countries, the truth will set you free. So really what we want to focus on, I can guarantee to you, that was one of the first things that I worked on when I became observant, is emet. Just emet, is focusing on emet. And when you slip, then right away to admit, sorry, I didn't mean it. That's not what I meant. It's not what I wanted to say. It says, for always a person has to be God-fearing. In seter means when nobody's there. No, don't show off in the shul how religious you are. And next to people, it's very easy to show off that you're very observant. Let's see how observant you are in closed doors, when nobody sees you. So it says, always you should be God-fearing, but when nobody's looking at you. And then, and always admit on the truth. Why? Because you finish it there. You don't schlep it. You don't start creating a snowball. Say the truth. Right away, you finish with it. So there's a lot more to learn. We're going to do another class going a little bit more deeper about the idea behind emet, behind truth. But this is the one of the first and most important thing that needs to be, the basics of basics, is applying constantly truth. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to others. Don't lie to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Don't bring situations in a way that it's presented as a lie. Not in business, not in relationships, not in anything. And I know many people say, yeah, but what happens if I have to go to court and to fight something? If you're a man of truth, you always speak truth, even in the court. And the Torah allows you here and there to lie. And you know what? I gave a lecture about it last year. The Torah actually doesn't allow you to lie. The Torah allows you not to say all the truth. That's what the Torah allows you. The only time the Torah will allow you really to lie is to save somebody's life. Chas v'shalom, a war, a holocaust, that's a whole different thing. But other situations, a lot of people say, yeah, but I heard that you're allowed to lie when it comes to shlom bayit, to peace in between a husband and wife. No, you're just allowed not to say all the truth. Or not to say everything, but not to lie. You can't manipulate now the reality. And like I said, it's not easy, because very now and then you will be found in some tangle that how do I get out of it without lying? Well, okay, so you figure out the way. Don't get yourself into situations like this. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying what we need to focus on. And the more you focus on emet, midat emet, eventually you become so honest and so straight that what do you really gain? Closeness to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And then everything just falls in order the right way. Not easy to do, but definitely a must.